Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and it's my pleasure to be here today for our fabulous show, Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Amina. If you watched the trailer that we ran in the beginning, the movie trailer, you probably saw the things that we represent, and one of them is coexistence and sustainability. And that's because of Pet Psychic Amina. And that's because of all that she's taught and brought to me in my life and to all of you out there. Today, we're going to be discussing cats. The title of our episode is Pussycat, Pussycat, I Love You. Let's welcome the star of our show, Pet Psychic Amina, joining us from California. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish I had confetti or something going with that wonderful intro. Thank you so much, as I know it's heartfelt. Thank you.
We're going to have to get you a crown. One of my, my other
no,
team members.
No. Then everybody will think I have a bigger head than I do.
One of our team members actually has a crown, and she wears it when she does her Talking Heads episode because she feels that it channels her inner beauty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have the room actually full of plants because we're having a horrible windstorm. So I had to bring in some from the outside. So there's a giant one taking up the sink because nobody cooks or cleans here. It doesn't matter. But, and then there's one on the window because it needs more sun and all these. But yeah, poor little, I don't know how to pronounce the name of the plant. It's like an arcalicious. I don't know. It's a different part of English. And I like, it's a pretty plant. But it's a lot more delicate petals, like rose petals are very delicate. And the wind gusts were just cutting it right through. And I was like, no, you're not taking all my blooms.
That was smart to bring them inside. And I love what you said about this sink. Who needs an oven? Who needs a sink? I mean, why do we have these things?
Yeah, I'm not cooking anymore. So I spent my years doing that when my kids were little. But no, I don't need to. So literally my counter and my sink looks like a nursery for plants more than it is anything else.
That's okay. They bring a lot of joy, as do cats. And I know you have a number of cats. You have three, I think.
We have three. We have
Three
three.
cats.
That was never the plan. So I'm all about, I want to be really crystal clear. Just because I did it or anybody else does it doesn't mean you should do it. Right? If you walk up to a cliff and you feel like you should turn around and go back, do, please, because off the cliff is a pretty final decision. If pets walk into your life and you feel you can do something with it, live with it, all of those, then go do. And I'm going to hang out here a second because we are frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen for the moment.
Oh, and so are you, by the way.
Oh, that's weird.
I thought it was a universal issue.
No, I can see me moving. I don't see you moving. But while you're trying to unfreeze, I want to just mention that I personally have never had a cat, but my mother rescued a cat, and her name was Kitty.
Oh.
And Kitty, I don't know who owned Kitty. Originally, she didn't have anything around her neck. My mom didn't get her from a store. She actually found her wandering around in the neighborhood and started putting food out. And then my mother brought her into the house, and she would come and go. But I remember it was such an interesting thing because the cat I guess the cat was living, I'm using living in air quotes because the cat was inside, the cat was outside, but my mom was taking care of it and took it to the vet and everything else. And the cat had been outside and got into some kind of confrontation with another cat.
Ouch.
And the cat came into the house, and my mom tried to calm the cat down. She came from behind to pet her, and she turned around and stuck her claws into my mom's arm. It was like literally hanging on my mom's arm.
Ouch.
And my mom was really traumatized from that. And unfortunately, it was bye-bye Kitty.
Yes, and this does happen. I also grew up with one of my sisters that it was bit by I don't know that the cat was stray. I know we were at somebody's house and the cat jumped up and bit her, and it really changed her path with pets. We had them off and on. We always had a cat. It seemed like outdoor more than indoors, so not a lot of one-on-one contact. But I never really got the sense that she moved on or that she was able to move on, and her hesitation until she had children and they wanted pets. And there was the chance for her to heal the past. And that's the best I can say is go volunteer yourself at the shelters. If you really have an animal issue, whatever reason why, it's a great healthy way to give back and figure out why do cats do what they do. And you're never going to get all of the story. Cats change what they do all the time.
Well, and I think in the example that I gave, because I had 3 dogs and one of my dogs had been beaten and actually had a broken patella, and the cat was always, the dog was always skittish and looking around. And so the point is, I think something must have happened to that cat that in addition to that day, and the cat was probably traumatized and therefore thought maybe my mom was coming up and attacking the cat. But anyway, I want to talk for people who are interested in getting a cat. There are different kinds of cats. And how do you know if, like, for example, when you get a rescue cat, do cats come with any type of like, I know dogs, you can have papers with dogs, right, to certify that the dog is a pure breed or something. How does it work with cats?
There are so many purebreds, and that's what you're dealing with that have papers. If an animal has papers, then somebody has bred it with a specific kind of cat. So if you want a Siamese, it's different than you get a Burmese, or you get a tortoise shell, and a lot of this indicates also their fur color. There is still, to this day, tons of people that believe that black cats are bad owning. And having owned a black cat, I'd never had a black cat until my daughter adopted hers. And I was very, very fortunate that I was living in Southern California. if anybody knows, I'm in Northern California now, but I was in Southern California at the time working in a wildlife sanctuary. And so my daughter said, I'd really like your input. Kind of, I hear what animals are saying. She's grown up knowing that. So we went to the shelters and picked out who is now Jackson. And he's a solid black cat. I think maybe on the chest, there's a little tiny bit of it. But they're so careful on who adopts what because of the misnomer that black cats are bad or they are bad luck or whatever. He has been the joy of our lives, especially for my daughter. And he's still with us. He's still with us. It's like 6 or 7 years later. And he's a wonderful, wonderful companion. But they worked that out. They came and met each other and said, no, it's you I love. It's you I want to be with. So as I've said before, we have 3 rescues. Jackson is one of them. He is the oldest. And he doesn't care where the other cats are. He'll go check on them and walk around. But wherever my daughter is, he is there. So somebody might call it like a Velcro pet, but he's so wonderful. He is Velcro. He is stuck like glue, but it's not a permanent glue. It's not super glue. It's love. It's companionship. She loves being around him. He loves being around her. And that means she's working at her desk. She's still working remote most of the time. And he just lays at her feet or lays in the cat tree because, of course, we have 900 cat trees around here. I'll tell you, it saves your furniture. And it also gives all of our cats a different window to look out of because, of course, we have other cat trees on different levels because we have a 3-level, technically a 3-leveled house. But where the windows are, there's 2. So we've got a cat tree everywhere. What does this mean? That our cats don't need to run their nails on our couches and stretch them. And they're going to do that. Cats are going to stretch their nails. It is what they do. So accommodate the pet you have. If you have a cat, like one of our cats is Rin. And this was my youngest daughter's, who, if you have watched us, she's stuck in Spain since pandemic. And so her kitty came to me years ago. And I absolutely adore her, but she's very shy. She's very, very shy. She will not come out when people come. Doesn't matter how many times she's seen them. But little by little, she has now come to me and asked to be pet. That's a big deal with a shy cat. You need to find out who you have. Watch them, play with them, introduce them to new things one at a time. Not, like you can't kick your family members out if you bring a cat home and say, okay, only one person gets in. So I don't mean this where it doesn't make sense, but you need to especially be very diligent introducing one pet to the other pet. And anything and everything can happen, will happen, might happen, but the last thing you want is a cat fight or a dog and a cat fight or any other vet bill possibility. And that is up to you, the owner, you, the person who is in charge, and everybody needs to come to one decision on how disciplines are made. Like if Jackson messes up and Rahime's not here, my daughter's not here, then yeah, I'm going to correct him because I know that's not what he's allowed to do because we all kind of agreed on the rules, as I say. But if she's here, I just tell her what happened and she takes care of it. So there's where I pass that off because pets know who the mom is and who the dad is and who the sister is. They can smell all that DNA and they understand what the link is. So what I'm saying is, even with cats, build a pack like you would with dogs. Dogs come in packs. They understand this. This is how it goes. Cats will understand it also. So there's some hopefully really good tips of take a deep breath. If you get to the point where corporal punishment is necessary or not, maybe step back first. Think about it. Because when you go to swatting or any kind of thing like that, it can really scare your pet, especially in the beginning. Can you use a water bottle? Absolutely. You can use a water bottle.
Yeah, that's a lot of great information that you gave I wasn't aware of. One thing that I would love to have you touch on is part of the reason I think where I never really considered getting a cat was because dogs are on the floor unless you pick them up, but cats are all over the place. You don't know where they're going to go. And for some reason that's unsettling to me. I don't know why, but what do you think it is? Do you think that's something that people find in a good way? The fact that the cats can climb on everything and go anywhere?
Yeah, it is it's very discombobulating. I don't know what the right.
Discombobulating.
Yeah, bobbling. That one. Hey, we're back.
You're back. Yay.
Yeah, all of a sudden my computer said, no, I got to fix this. And I was like, okay, go do your thing. I know we've done this before when we've had technical difficulties. But what's great is try to get to know your cat every day, every way, everything you can imagine. Watch what they do. What does their tail say? What does their legs say? What does their arms say? They are all about body language. Because can you imagine if your cat hisses at you every time he doesn't want to be picked up? That's kind of disconcerting because like, whoa, no, hissing. Because that's a step up to, I'm going to swipe you with my nails. So if you have a pet that likes to swipe you, then something in the conversation isn't going well. You either aren't listening, that right now they want to sleep or eat or whatever, and you pester them constantly, that they never feel like they can rest, so they're under the bed. So hiding is twofold. It's comfort, it's wonderful, it's warm, it's you've got a bunch of clothes underneath there or something, or your tennis shoes are under your bed because you wore them somewhere and they want to smell your shoes and you're gone. There's 100 reasons why anybody does anything. So I'm going to just throw out just all of the possibilities. But if you have a pet that starts hissing at you, you need to find out why. Is it always what I've seen the most, sadly, is the person, age is not even a thing here. Now, maturity is a different thing. But the person is always forcing themselves on the pet. And after a while, if not from the if you're talking with a cat, from the very first time you do it, they're going to complain. The dog might, I really don't want to do this, but pack animal is going to go, oh, okay, but I'll deal with it. Maybe it won't happen. You need to be watching their signals. What is their ear? Are they listening to you? Are they not listening to you? Because ears tilt around when they're listening for you. We have a cat that will come when he's called because there's a wonderful bond between him and my daughter, and he wants to be with her all the time. So he rarely does walk off. You need to find those happy places, but it's work. Every relationship. Dr. JACALYN, I know you had puppies and you were living with your mom for a while. I'm living with my daughter, and different relationships all over the place. They take work. It's not easy when you say something and you think it's clear and then somebody does something else and you're like, I can get mad about this, or I can ask what happened. Now you need to take that in content and put it with your pets and the people that your pet is around. If there is a time, for example, I try to use my real life so you can understand that this comes from real information, not just the training I've had. If Jackson, I don't know, jumped on the dining room table, jumped on the kitchen sink counters, these are absolute no's in our world. For my daughter and I, this is absolutely no. You don't get to do that. So if I see it, the best thing for me to do is reinforce with, let's say Jackson did it. And I'd say, no, I have to address it immediately. Animals don't hold on to, oh, you mean when I, broke the vase 3 days ago, 6 weeks ago? No, it's too late. They have no idea why you're yelling at them or you spanked them. God forbid you use corporal punishment or whatever. or, oh, I'm going to ignore you for 3 days. And they're like, what's up with you? Then you just look flighty. You look unreliable. And an animal really wants a reliable parent and a reliable coexistence. If you don't catch them in the action, you really lose the ability to discipline. Because I don't know about you, I don't speak cat. I can hear them, they can hear me, and if they will allow me, I will talk to them. And I will show them what they're doing. I find for me and my gift, I visualize reenacting what it might have looked like when he jumped up on the counter. And most of the time, all the animals I work with, it's just like, oh, that's what she's talking about. And I help that conversation grow in body language. Animals are really centered with body language. And I say animals because it's pretty much across the board. I don't care if it's a whale or an eagle or a puppy. They're still going to watch your body language. Why do some dogs, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, Dr. JACALYN, but why do some dogs, people literally walk 6 blocks around that dog? And it could be just a poodle, or it could be a bull mastiff. They're beautiful dogs, powerful German shepherds. I had more people with my German shepherd walk around us around the block, and I'm thinking, dude, the worst he's going to do is lick you to death. But they don't know that.
Right.
They don't know that. So you need to be clear that your dog stays within your leg rein, in leash rein, no pulling you out so that people are frightened, because your pet is the one who will lose their life. Nobody's going to put you to sleep, but I've seen it where animal reg got involved because the dog kept biting people, and he's trying to say, or she's trying to say something. Why are they biting? And what are you going to do about it? Oh, well, he should just obey me. Why? Are you King Solomon somewhere? I don't know. It's a relationship. Yes, you can be alpha male or female in your pack if you were talking dogs, but did you earn it? Because that's how it works in the world of their Lord. They're the one that went out and killed their food, and the whole pack ate. When everybody starves or nobody starves. So why wouldn't you think about that when you have your pet and say, how can I coexist with them and give them the best life they want with parameters? Best life is, are you going to leave, I don't know, a bunch of pills on the counter and your toddler comes by and says, "Ooh, candy."
Mm.
And then they're in the ER trying to save their life. Because if it's an adult medicine, I don't care if it's a vitamin or Tylenol or whatever else, or the doctors prescribe something. Why do you think all bottles now come with a childproof cap? All of them, because it kills our children. So why wouldn't you do the same courtesy with your dog? Don't keep a burger or a tortilla or whatever, or salad on your table that's so low, like an end table, and your dog walks by and says, "Ooh, food." I don't care how many times you told them, "Don't eat my food."
Right.
You've got to put it in action and reinforce it. But guess what will win the day? Kindness, firmness. Don't be wishy-washy. If the rule is you don't get to touch the sandwich on Tuesday, but you can touch the sandwich on Thursday. What? They don't even understand Tuesday and Thursday. It's that, oh, one time we got it, one time we didn't. And if your dog is at the point where, oh, I'm so hungry, that smells great. They are all on reaction. They're not analyzing it that you just made this great sandwich and I bet I'm eating your lunch. They don't do that. And people literally, Dr. Jonathan, have asked me, well, I told him not to do that. Yay for you. Mm-hmm. Did you tell him in his language? Did you, I don't know if you ever heard about this, or everybody. In the early days, I want to say the 60s and 70s especially, and maybe the 80s, luckily I haven't run into anybody lately that literally puts their pet's face, nose, mouth, into like the thing they're not supposed to chew on or the food that they're not supposed to eat. And I've had a couple of people that I really had to work with and said, well, but I told him, and I put the thing in his face and told him, no, no, no. Okay, so basically you put the sauce or whatever on his face and then told him not to eat it. That's not gonna, that's the pet is so confused at that point because you gave him food, but then you were cruel and I had to lick it off my face. There's no consistency. If you wouldn't do it to yourself or you wouldn't want somebody to do it to you or your children, don't do it for your pet. There's respect, there's love, there's camaraderie, and our animals in the whole world will absolutely step up and be there for you when you've earned the trust, when you've earned the love. It's unconditional, the love and affection a pet usually has to an owner. So isn't that worth you stepping back and saying, okay, I don't need to yell at him. I don't, unless you've got a dog who's running across the street. And I can't reiterate this more than everything. If you have a dog, any kind of dog, cats, we're not going to talk about cats in a return, but dogs are pack animals. They will listen to you when you have earned it. But if you're fair and kind, you need to always, your dog should have what is it? Where you call out and they come back. You need that return. It doesn't have to be food. It doesn't have to be a ball. That always helps, because if your dog runs out in the street and gets hit by a car, either those people in the car have tremendous damage to their car and the pet is dead, or anything in that terrible, terrible situation. Nobody wants to be in that situation. It's the same with your children. Hopefully you teach them, don't run after the ball that ran into the street. Don't. And I literally haven't thought about this in a long time. Am one of my classmates. I was in kindergarten. I got to hear about this all my life because the boy that I went to kindergarten with, one of them, was hit and killed playing in the street. And it rang through all our families, which is the street he lived on and our street, which was a few blocks away. It was something that every parent felt forever. I heard about it when I was in middle school. I heard about it when I was in high school, and this young child died. Was hit by somebody coming through the street. He was in the middle on a little tricycle. So it was way under the tires and under the hood height. And the older couple that hit him, and he died instantly there, never healed. And his family finally moved away. They couldn't stand living there. Please don't wait to try out any of these things I'm suggesting until it is too late. Your pet gets killed, a child gets hurt, killed, and or you lose a limb. We don't win, none of us, against a car. We don't. Train, plane, any of that. So don't play in the street unless you are lucky enough to be in a nice flat street where you put cones on either end and everybody knows that's what it is. Just know it's meant for cars. So if one comes through, don't be shocked. But it will cost somebody's life if we don't care for our pets. Why do we talk about, and I talk about, keep them in the home, especially your cats? It's a lot easier. This is the first time, I'm going to be absolutely honest, this is the first time my family has ever had a full-time cats indoors. And I live in a place where there's fast traffic all the time, but even worse, coyotes. I live in such a place that is very rural outside of all our condos. So you're not going to get a lot of traffic, but you're going to get somebody who's not going to be seeing a child or a dog or a cat in the middle of the road, because all the roads are very small. But what you will see is the coyotes waiting for your cat to be running loose in the park, wherever, because that's dinner, that's lunch, that saves their babies. It's about a logical process of, that's what I eat. I'm a carnivore. You don't get to say, well, they should leave them alone. Well, why? It's free food. You just threw them out the door. What helps, if you really have a pet that, and I've met them, that absolutely is crazy about being outdoors, either train them on a leash and go with them, or at the very least, I hate to give you this because I really like you to keep them in the house for the sake of birds, the sake of wildlife, and all of those things. But this will also help. Dr. Jacalyn, you got to guess? You got to guess what one thing, if you're going to leave your pets, let roam in a while, will cut down almost completely if your cats or dogs do these. Do you know what I mean?
I know
Goes around their neck.
You don't mean with their chip.
Ah, a bell.
Oh, a bell. That's bell.
Guess what? You take away all the what a stalk. If the cats are stalking their prey, what do they do? It really quiet. They don't want to move a leaf. They don't want to lose anything, because these animals that live outside permanently, they know what it is to be hunted down.
Right.
And the birds hit the ground. They need a seed or something like that. Man, they know cats can jump, so high. But a bell ruins the entire thing, because there's no secret anymore. There's no, what I didn't see him coming. Guess what? You'll see him coming, and you better either fly away or run away or whatever, and you better be faster, because even with the bell, if you've got a dog or a cat and they can run as fast as whatever they're chasing, you still got the problem. But what I have found in pro action is it's a great start, because if your cat's going to go and your dog's going to say, oh my gosh, every time I go like this, they're going to know that the bell is causing the problem. So I've actually seen dogs try to get out of their collars desperately to be able to hunt. So it's not foolproof. Nothing is. Yep, nothing is. I'm going to stick with that. Nothing is. But you can try if you really, really feel that your pet needs some outside time. Teach your cats to walk on a leash. Yes, it's work and depends on the personality of your cat and what they like to do. I know one of my clients, they got their cat a stroller. They do make cat strollers, so they zip in and they have little netting in the front so they can just sit there and enjoy it. What a great thing to do together. And they're not terribly expensive, because they're not having to weigh a baby in diapers and all that kind of stuff. And it's magical. It's magical. And we actually have one of these strollers, and we used to use it for two of the other pets that we had. And I tried it when we got our last one that is living with us now. She was just a handful, just couldn't stand it. She was a stray and somebody caught her, and she was still working on living indoors. So I took her in the stroller half time to see if that would help. And it did. It got her so, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And the anxiousness, but then she would finally lay down and just watch where we walked. And it was something that helped her transition, actually being better indoors full time. And now we've had her for 3 years or something, and she's totally adjusted. But she came from living outside and being able to run around as a kitten. Luckily, one of our neighbors caught her, and they couldn't keep her because of their own pet situation. But what I'm trying to share with you is you've got to have an outlet, not only for our human children and our human adults, something to do to burn our energy or our creativity or whatever that is. Your pets need the same. And strollers are a real thing. And you might think they're silly or whatever, but give it a try. It's magical to learn together on what your pet can handle. Maybe all you get is the stroller and the garage door open. Maybe that's all you can do until your cat goes, oh, so this thing I'm in that I can't get out, because a lot of pets will freak out and go, oh, I can't get out. They will little by little feel more confident because they're just watching the world. And then maybe later on, a month later, you go halfway out the driveway and then you go back in. It will get a lot of their energy out. And this is what we did with our young kitty, just tons of energy. And she was jumping on the older cats and didn't like it. And so we needed to really get a laser light, a laser pin light, and run her around the living room. And she had to do that at least a couple times a day because she was young and she had a lot of energy. And there just wasn't going to work with our 2 older cats. And now they get along fabulously. But we put in the time. We put in the extra time. And that's what I want to encourage you. Relationships, I don't care if they're people on people or animal on people, they all deserve growth and time together. And are we a fit for everybody? Nope. Nope, we're not. But if you don't give it a try, how are you going to know that your cat can get better, your dog can get better, your iguana can do better? Whatever your animals are, they have a right to a great life. And if you love them, you're just the right person to learn something new that makes them happy. Because I'll tell you, when your animals are happy, just like your kids are happy, or your boss is happy, I don't see how that's a bad thing.
Lots of great points that you made there. We are coming up to the end of the show, but I do have a question for you. What would you say, just high level, I mean, besides the obvious, are the main differences between owning a cat and owning a dog?
Their choices. So cats are technically more aloof. They are independents. They're just like, I'm done with the petting. Okay, it's lovely, but go away. And they'll swat at you if you don't listen. Because cats really, really will speak with their tail. If it's going a mile a minute, they're either looking at something they want to jump on or they're agitated. It's not necessarily a good thing. Get a dog and their tail is the same conversation, but it's usually, if they're wagging their tail, they're happy clams. They're really going. They're very excited that you walked in the room or something. You don't get that with a cat. You're not going to get the tail thing unless you are doing something they don't want to do. I worked with one client's cat to teach them how to wear a harness. And boy, you would have thought we had crucified him or something. But the harness is strapped over chest and neck. And with a cat, that's far better because you don't want to injure anything in their neck. And if you're pulling on them and they're pulling to get out and try to get it over, well, a halter eliminates all those. But what I've seen when they're first being introduced to a harness is the cat just lays flat. It's like, okay, like you put a brick on them and they just like, I can't move. Oh my God, what is around me? And those are the growth parts. And you have treats or you do snuggle in your arm. What's neat is if you get them trained, I would always recommend with cats to go to a halter, not a neck collar. And please don't put a neck collar on them if they're running around on their own, because accidents, getting caught on trees, getting caught on a bush, wherever, is highly dangerous for a cat to run up and then he chokes himself and he can't get out of it. And that would be really, really tragic. Get them microchipped. Any pet you have, that any possibility that might go wrong or stray or whatever, get them microchipped. And it's teeny, tiny little thing. They put it between the shoulder blades. And anybody nowadays, shelter, vets, they all have the gun that reads them. And what it should say is your name and your address. This is where this pet lives. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen purebreds specifically being adopted by the neighbor meaning they took your dog, they took your cat because they thought it was cute, and you've got no way to prove it. So unless they change the microchip, and some vets, depends on where you go. If they're going to say, wait a minute, it already has a chip, who is Jane and your name is Sam, and it's like, oh, my cousin, whatever. But it really will help you get that animal back from the shelter, because they're going to have the ability to scan that chip, and there's your name and address. And let's say you forget to update it. Doesn't matter, your name is still there. So if you have any kind of, and now we all have cell phones, so we're not in the yellow pages anymore. But what happens if your vet is listed on there? That's a really great backup, because the vet can say, oh yeah, they were a client of mine, and I think they moved. This is who you can possibly call as another avenue to finding this person. That is gold, especially on the fancy dogs or a beautiful dog. If everybody and their brothers go, oh man, I would love that dog, I'd love that dog, and one day it got stolen, be careful. You can literally win a case in the court of law when somebody says, no, that's my dog. And it's like, no, that's my dog, and here's my proof. I got it. Because they can get the microchip, of course, removed by another vet and say, oh, we adopted this one, we need to change it. I don't know if vets have a rule that says I have to call the previous owner that's on the chip there is. So let's go with no. They just take it out, you put a new one in. But there will be history. There will be something. If the owners show up and they go, no, that's my dog, I lost it. I didn't give it away. I didn't throw it out of the house. And people, believe it or not, go to court, pay for a lawyer on these things, especially if we're talking about a very popular breed and the animal is not neutered or spayed. If you really want to keep your pets close, please spay and neuter. It is vital to their longevity. And especially if you have a designer dog or cat, you'll cut down a great deal on somebody trying to steal it for any reason, then they just love it. And that's better than somebody who wants to breed it over and over and over and over, basically to death.
Once again, phenomenal tips that you are giving out here. I'm hoping our audience, our new audiences across these new platforms, are taking notes, watching this later, listening to it on one of our podcast platforms. How can you bring value to people, and what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
I make it one step. Go to bridgingworlds.us. I am all about bridging worlds. And that is where we're going to start and see what questions you have. Remember this, animals have free will. I don't guarantee anything because I'm talking to an animal that has free will. But if you've called me, 99% of my clients talk to their animals every day because we're crazy about them. And we tell them about our day, tell them about the paper we just wrote, or I know me, if I just want to snuggle, I go and put my face in somebody's fur. And usually that's the people that call me. But again, it's one stop. You'll get links to my Facebook. You'll get links to the YouTube channel and see all the other things I've talked about with Dr. JACALYN. Thank goodness that's all there. And I do post them once in a while, the older ones with the new ones. bridgingworlds.us. Absolutely that simple.
Thank you, my friend. And thank you for another fabulous episode. I think we're 150 something. I don't even know, but a huge, huge accomplishment. So I give you my thanks and gratitude.
Well, thanks for having my favorite color as our background.
Yeah, it's and I like the opening. It sort of makes you feel like there's all kinds of possibilities. So
absolutely. And there are, I mean, just watching some of us, if not all of us that are on your channel, they are absolutely golden tickets of saying, oh, I should have thought of that. That's okay. We're here to encourage you to try it, see how it goes, go here, go there. And I love all the people from all over the world that are on this platform with me. It's absolutely fabulously universal all over. And some are people are moving. I understand the ones that are in trailers or something like that. Some of the guys are on the move.
Roland's living in a motorhome. He left his home in Mallorca, the island of Mallorca, and he's driving all over in Europe and spent over a year now. So it's kind of cool. But all right, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you again. Have a beautiful weekend. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday.
Next Friday.
All right. Bye for now. Bye. Thank you, everyone. If you are on one of our new platforms, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We love our loyal fans wherever you are. It doesn't matter. Thank you. We would appreciate if you subscribe to our YouTube channel because we get real metrics about where people are so that we can target what we're talking about to our audience. That is USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube and on Roku, and as well as Amazon Fire. It's the same USA Global TV and Radio. Thanks again. We look forward to seeing you on Monday. Bye for now.